Hey everyone, it is Susie, and I hope everybody's been doing well. I've been absent the last couple of weeks, I know. I kind of have been trying to work on some tax stuff, and then started this little book here and just totally lost the mojo for it. And so when I do that, I usually just stop because I just end up making a bigger mess than I do anything. So that's kind of what I've done the last couple of weeks. But I do have a couple of things that I want to share, and I have some new things to the Etsy shop that I kind of wanted to share. One of them that I have new in the shop is some vintage Smeed card guides, and I actually have used a couple of them in here, and I'll show you them when I get into this book. Sharon has made some mini snowflakes. These are smaller than the regular snowflakes. I think they have kind of varied in size just a hair in the bag, and so it's like an inch and an eighth, from point to maybe an inch. And those are kind of the size that they are. They're adorable. Those are in the shop, and I know that I was out of the regular white snowflakes, and she does have those restocked now. So that's a couple of things that's in the shop. And then I run into a bunch of these bags here, and I have got them in the shop. These are only about a ½ gusset. They're like a cookie bag. I guess it's an inch gusset. They're a ½ inch each fold, but an inch gusset. And I can't remember the size. They look like a 6 by 9, but I'm not sure. They are, well, I'm going to go down from they're an 8, about an 8 by 6.5. So it'd be 8.5, a little over 8.5 if you're counting your little top here. But I usually, this is where they measure from. So about an inch and 8 and an eighth inch there, 8 and 1/8. And then 6.5. These are really nice size, great, and they do stain up well. And then also I've got these fun Spunkmeyer cookie bags, and so these are in the shop. These definitely stain up well. I have stained a couple of them already, and they are an 8. Not counting your ½ inch or whatever it is. This with the top flap there, it's about 8 3/8 and by 6. But from where your fold go, where your flap is, it's just an 8. So about 8 by 6. And these are so fun. And these are flat. These do not have a gusset, so they're just flat. So that's a fun thing that's in the shop. I've added more than that. I think I have some vintage tally cards, and I don't know. I kind of listed a bunch of stuff at once. So you need to go over if you haven't been over there for a while and check out what's new. And then also, I wanted to be sure and mention that PickingJunkAddict on Etsy, and I will have that link in the description box. She is having a 40% off in her Etsy shop. So you might get some good deals there, and I will put that link in the description box. So be sure and go over and see what she's got on sale. So what I have is a couple of journals. One is just blank, and these are the vintage books. This is a very old book. I forgot to check before I gutted it what the date was, but it is very, very old. Of course, the spine is as glued down as I could get it, but like I said, it's not going to come apart because inside it is got the fabric that it is actually adhered to. But it is a very old book. Now, this book is small. It is about a 4 1/8 by a 6 1/8. And what I thought it is daily food for Christians is what it is. So I actually have in a packet that will come with this some of the pages that were in here. It was like a daily devotion, and just darling. So anyway, it does have 2 signatures, and it is just a hodgepodge of papers. It has a little bit of everything in it. Now, I did use a thicker, like your manila envelopes, your little 6x9s. Those are cut down there to fit for the pockets. Just some, put the vintage buttons on the inside of the signature. They are 12 papers folded is what it is. So you end up with 24 pages or pieces, which equals 48 pages each signature, front and back. So there's the other side of the envelope. So you got a nice thick envelope. And they're just a mixture of papers. I like to mix the tea dyed. Here is the middle. And I have used vintage lace to kind of cover over the signature there where it's been sewn in. Now, whoops, piece of trash in there. Of course, it is hidden spine. You will not see on the outside where I bound it together. But just your variety of papers. This is out of a very old magazine there. And I mended a page there with some of the old age tape. It had a little tear in it in the tea-dyed paper. So there it is, and I've actually recovered some of the book here and went over where you could write or, you know, do what you wanted there. So there is the little book, and it is a inch spine, is what it is. And of course it will be going to the Etsy shop, and then these are some of the fun things that I'm going to throw in with this. Now I like to use tea dyed as well as just plain. I just like the mixture sometimes. So that is what I did in this. There are no photos. I really couldn't find any photos that I wanted for this one in particular. So I just thought, well, I'll nix the photos, and what I will do is I will just add some real fun goodies here. So what I have done is I had some of these little tiny flashcards. And so those are going to be in there. Then I have some of these little, they're just little, they were little Post-its. And they may still have a little bit of stick on the back, but a lot of it was lost when they were coffee stained. So anyway, there is 3 of those, just little checklist with the little birdie. I just absolutely love the little bird. And then I have one of these little tea bag pockets, and you can see it's got a little tear there from where it was baked and dried there. And then I got these from the Hopeful Bird, and so I just threw a couple of them in. They're little typewriters. I did not do these. These are from the Hopeful Bird there. But anyway, I'm going to throw those in there. Then I have some vintage Denison tags. These are tags that were made in the USA. But there's like 4 of those, 4 or 5 of these, and I did not copy dye these. I wanted you to be able to see the little Denison on them. And then I have a couple of vintage glassine envelopes. And here are just some little receipts. I believe these are the Klasiki. I at one time had ordered a bunch of Klasiki stuff from Japan, I think, and that's where those come from. And then I just have some little clusters here that I had made. I like to use these for like maybe a page runner or, you know, or something here. So I've got a few of those, like 4 of them, I think. Of course, stitched in the black thread. And then I know these are big, but I like to put big things in the little, I don't mind putting bigger envelopes in here, so I have a couple of these bigger envelopes here. These look like 4 by 6. These are, well, they're 3.5 by 6, but they're vintage. They're already discolored, so those will match perfectly. I got a couple of just tea bags that have been stained. I'll throw in, and here are the some of the pages, and I put several pages in here because I thought if you were going to make it your prayer journal, that you could actually cut some of these out and paste them on, adhere them to a tag or back of a tag or back of a photo. but they're just scriptures from the Bible. Just a really nice book. So that's going in there, and I've got several pages. There's several, as a matter of fact, I've got one. They were in months, so I've got one for each month, so that you had some from each month that was in the book. And then I have these big guest checks here that have been stained. Well, that one a little more heavily than the others, but I love it because you could write on it, and it can stick out of your book. Just love that. So anyway, I'm including that. That will come with your little book. Just no photos this time. I didn't do that. So there will be that. That's headed to the Etsy shop. And I'll just have it as vintage daily food for Christians. That's how I'll list it in the shop. So, okay. And then to get to the one, now this one is decorated. So, like I said, I kind of started it, and I just lost my mojo. I think it's because I knew I had some tax stuff I had to get ready and rounded up by the 31st of January. And so it was on my mind, and I think I just, I just was in one of those moods, and I just couldn't finish it. So here we go. Got it finished now. And also got my taxes that had to be out, the sales tax, actually, for the state of Missouri. I had to get done by the 31st, so... the rest of it is, of course, in April, so I'm not so worried about it. So, anyway, here is the book. This here has a 1.25 inches. So, that's what the spine is. And the book itself measures 4 3/4 by 7 1/4. So, this one, of course, is bigger than the other. But this has a really pretty image on it. Did not cover that up. That's the one thing I love about some of these old books was the photos on them. And so here we go. This one here, I have included old photos, old images, as well as paper dolls. Of course, paper dolls are my favorite things. Here are some of those guest checks that have been dyed, coffee dyed, tea dyed. Just did a little collage, a little tatting. Absolutely love that. I did use... oh, I'm going to go blank. I knew I should have wrote it down. Oh. Well, I'll have to put it in the description box. I knew I would do that. But you all know who this is. And you probably know exactly where these come from. But I'll have to put it in the description box. But I used the kit that she had. And I just used these kind of negative. She had these negative florals. And this may be from it, I don't know. But just a couple of things I used from that download. But I will have to put it in the description box because my mind is just blank. It does that. You get to talking and you're just blank. So here is just this little thing here because I had to do it in the book. Went a little wonky on my stitching, but I left it just like it was. Just a little collage there. Got a piece of vintage crocheted trim there. And this was fun. I kind of made it look a little like steps to the pages above, which I like to do. So here is this page. I just used one of those coin, those little coin, oh gosh, I can't think what they're called, but they're in the shop. Anyway, they're for your coins. And what I usually do, because there's two to a little, where you bend it over and put your coin on the inside, I always cut it just in half and use half of it. So anyway, just did a little collaging there. And then here I've got just, this is a download, and I'll have to put it in the description as well, where I got this. It was just a lot of ephemera, and I'm blank on where I got it too. I tried to write that stuff down, and I just didn't do it. Didn't get it done. So here is an old download I had. Gosh, I've had it forever, and I'll have to put it in the description where each of these have come from. Here is a little image there. Just did a little book. I'm wanting to think this was calico collage, but I'm just not certain. I'm just not certain. And so then I have some little, this is just a little tag and this little book page or dictionary page. This was just some old like parchment, and so this actually was where the printer misprinted, and I didn't want to throw it away, so I made a pocket out of it. Just a couple little tags. Here's one of those Denison tags. And then I got this at like a thrift store. It's some old used stencils, and so I wanted to use that in here, and you could kind of hide a little bit of writing under there or a photo or something. Vintage book page. Center of the signature has my mother of pearl buttons there. Little collage with the paper doll. This isn't a pocket, it's just a little pretty because I wanted it to kind of go with the little half sheet there. And then I have another little crochet trim there. Here's that, and it is kind of frail, so I wouldn't be real hard on that. This here is just a little life stories. No, it's not vintage, but I got some of these in some vintage trims that I had bought, and I wanted to use that. Here's just a little index card that's been stained, little tag, and then I just thought that'd be fun to write in. It's really not vintage. I kind of covered over the barcode. That's what was there, was a barcode. And then here is another little collage on my little bag here. And this time I just, because my book was getting so fat, I just had to not make so many booklets for the pockets. So I've just got a couple of papers here with the little kind of where they had baked it. I think this came as not Happy Meal, but a freebie and something that I had ordered. So there is that. And then here is one of those guide cards. They're kind of in a peachy pink. I don't know if that is quite it, but it's like a peachy pink. And so I just made it a tuck there. But those are the guide cards I was telling you about. And then here is just part of that. And then I did include, this is one of those from the Journal Maker. This is from Judith Sanderson, Rose Lane Vintage Designs. This is her letter that I downloaded and I printed out. I love this. It's a letter to keep with your journal. It's absolutely beautiful, and so I wanted to put that in there. I don't know how many are in the signature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's about 12 folded sheets in each signature. That's usually about what I put, 12 to 13. Here's another little collage with the paper doll. And then here's another one of them cards that I used. I love that. And then here I did a little thing with, these are some vintage Kodak where you could do your own slides. And I picked these up at a yard sale. I've never got them any listed to the shop. Maybe I need to do that. But anyway, I haven't done that. I've had them a long time. And I like using them. I just stain them up a bit. Paper doll. Of course, this is vintage. This is some really vintage stuff there. And then here is another one of the glassine bags. Here this is not in here. You could just take it and write in this if you wanted to, or put pictures. This just pulls out, excuse me. This just pulls out, and it's just a little, a little writing paper there. But this is an old school, 1928 to 1929 was the school year. And I love that, so I just put that in there. And then this here I made some paper dolls where you could it's just a fun page. Not really useful for anything, just a fun page. Covered it over with a little vintage trim there. And then here is just a couple of tags there. There's the little buttons, and then a piece of the crocheted lace. Now this I put a little piece of paper in. It's a very small spot. And then here is a vintage. This is a vintage glassine, what used to hold stamps and coins there. And I included it, and then I put a little official registration certificate. This also is vintage. Model Aeronautics. So anyway, and then I included the tag. This journal was created by Susie. I got that from Tailor Made Journals. Lorna over at Tailor Made Journals. She made that. She made me 2 stamps. And then here is another one of the guide cards that I've just and when I stitched on that, it's just so thick, even my little things went wonky. But I just leave it. I think it adds character. I never get too overworked by stuff like that. So there is that. It's got some vintage ephemera here. And then I did the back of it here. Just kind of collaged it up. Here is another one of those, like the negative downloads. Here is a little booklet just made. This is some really grungy parchment. And there's a pretty little image. And there's that. And there is that book. So this is a pretty chunky little book here. And then I'm going to pull that up just a hair so it bends good. This was just a nothing collage, just a little something on the, it'd be great to have a photo or something hanging on that. And then here is the back. And this is my Samantha at Saratoga. So it is headed to the Etsy shop as well. Everybody, I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.